You've seen him on River Talk, you've heard him on WKZQ, and now Wave 104. Meet the real Banana Jack coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Herald at Myrtle Square Mall. We're visiting with Jack Murphy, the host of River Talk and the morning show on Wave 104. Good morning, Jack.
Hey, buddy.
It has taken forever to get you on.
I am just thinking right now, I am in so many places at the same time.
It's amazing. You're right.
This is wacky.
You're right now on Wave 104.1. You're
Right.
probably online.
I was just on Fox 43.
You were just on Fox 43 and in a couple hours.
It's a show called River Talk. You might have heard about it. It's a little public affairs show.
I love that show. It airs on
Nice.
HTC 4.
Yeah, 1, 4, and 7 during the day.
Is that right? Channel 1? Oh, at times 1, 4, and 7.
4, and 7.
Right, right.
Yeah. And 7.
And 7 a.m.
On Channel 7.
on Cable 7.
Right, because it's 7. Fox 43. 4 and 3 is 7.
You got
7 at 7.
I love that.
Well, you came up with it.
Yeah.
This
We gotta
is
move
pretty
Carolina
good.
People
Where
to
did you
7.
get this
That's right.
better blue water?
Isn't that stuff exciting?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It is from an amazing spring up near Hendersonville, actually a little place called Bald Mountain. And a couple bottles it, Robert and Janet Haynes. With their, actually, they own the spring and they bottle it. I'd love to take credit for all that, but we were blessed to hook up with them. And obviously, the Heart Association was the big focus then. Getting it roaring so that they could be the presenting sponsor of the Heart Walk this past.
And folks can find out more at betterblue.com. Better Blue.
Yeah, have you been to betterblue.com, Jack?
No, I haven't. I wonder what that's all about.
It's a good-looking site. Julie Bastian built that site.
Okay.
She did a great job. She did a great job. About yourself, Jack.
Oh, really? That's what this show's about.
You're a Tar Heel native who now calls the Palmetto State home, I guess.
This is really good water.
That's fantastic.
Did I mention that?
That's very kind of you. Better Blue's our show's sponsor, and of course.
How about that?
Well, of course, we'd like to. Of course, we're now at the Myrtle Beach Herald.
We put all our guests to the best for the water that is best. Better Blue.
I love it. I love it, Jack.
Sorry, it comes out.
Not planned. Yeah, this is not planned.
You wait till you get the bill, huh?
Yeah, today's the day.
I have not been interviewed since the parole board did so in 1988. I'm thinking it is weird for me because in this business sometimes with watching River Talk that I work the camera.
Oh yeah.
A little bit.
Oh.
A lot, and it's almost as if there's someone sitting over there with us, and I would be looking at that camera, and it is kind of weird.
Well, what about being on radio forever? I mean, you are on live all the time, and then obviously oftentimes you'll tape River Talk. I guess you go live sometimes, but tape River Talk.
We tape it all the time.
Okay.
We do an entire week of shows on a Monday for the upcoming week.
Right. For that week and the next
following week.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But now sometimes you'll tape on a Monday and it'll air Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. If I was out of town, spending some of that big morning show money that I make in radio, going up to the mountains, home of Better Blue water, friends.
It's natural spring water, pal. It's not Better Blue water. Then it'd be like Le Bleu and Dasani and Aquafina. I mean, this is the real thing.
It's natural spring water.
Thank you.
Well, you get what you pay for.
That's very important, and you pay a lot. No, I'm kidding. It's a great deal.
Just a matter of time before the Olsen twins are harking this right here. Paris Hilton's probably a little
There's
tied up
certain people who will not be arguing. That's for sure. What about Wave 104, Jack? You've been there a couple years before that, for many years at WKZQ.
Yeah, I came from your neck of the woods, I guess. Do you talk about the fact that you're from North Carolina as well?
Oh, Lord, yeah.
Durham? Okay.
Heck yeah.
I got a little tie-in with that area because I was there in the mid-'80s working radio. The folks that owned KZQ originally, Grand Strand Broadcasting, Tom Rogers, Suzette Rogers, that family, and Bill Hennessy. Do you know they started Strand Magazine over there in that building where my studios are now?
Those folks now, Strand Magazine's no longer owned by them, is it?
No, it's still owned by
the Blunts or whatever.
Dolores and Tom Rogers.
Okay. So Tom Rogers
Jim
still has a
Krill,
stake in it,
yeah. but it got its start over there. Where was I? How I got there?
Yeah.
They called me in 1987 to come to KZQ, and I had just come back from Georgia. I had been downsized, so to speak, in radio. Had never really been fired before. There was this saying in broadcasting, you've either been fired or you will be, and I had that experience at an early age, and I got disenchanted with it, and I got in another line of work, came back, and I says, no, I'm going to stay up here. I'm doing some overnight radio. I want to do a morning show. I think I'm going to get this morning show here because I've been putting something in the morning guy's food, and he gets sick all the time. And,
And up here, you're talking about in Goldsboro.
No, this was in Goldsboro.
Right.
Yeah. And so I stayed there, got a morning show, honed my craft. Now, prior to that, in 85 and 86, I worked for Jim Hebner. And that was my first touch of morning radio with ZZU. So we did the morning zoo up there, and I was kind of the assistant producer of the show and got to learn from the craft of what morning radio is about there. And so I decided to hold off. In 1989, I was pretty much offered a job here and came down here and was on the air at KZQ when they went from 3,000 watts to 50,000 watts.
Golly.
Had a big marketing campaign behind that. It was Banana and OJ. Now, I was not Banana Jack until I came here. Now, the name I used is not imported at this point.
Oh, yeah. What was it? What was it?
Oh, I had so many. I worked at one particular time. I was working, doing mornings at a pretty much a contemporary hits radio station, Top 40 for you older folks, as a Marvelous Merv. I would go do afternoons at another station, and it was country, and I was Jamie Outlaw.
No.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, we do all these things, because chicks dig radio guys, Greg. You might want to give it a try sometime.
Yeah, my God.
Chicks really dig the radio guys.
I've been trying to get into radio, but no, I mean, there's so many of the big groups.
Oh, that's where the money is, man.
Oh, come on.
Oh, yeah.
The money's in print. Or it's in TV. I mean, what do you, or internet.
Right.
The money's not in radio, is it?
Oh, yeah. Because chicks dig it.
Oh, my God. Well, then that's the form of
Work
currency.
with me.
Yeah.
Chicks
No, that's
dig
right.
it. They think
Absolutely.
there's money in it, okay? Wow.
I love it. Now, we're not talking about Barb Crum, for instance.
That's the wife, and we'll get to that a little later on. How long is this show anyway? Because no one's going to walk out of this door like the old "This Is Your Life" show, is it? And sit down beside me. But man, it was great. I came here in 1989. I stayed on the air nonstop at KZQ through 2 or 3 different owners, so many program directors. It was pathetic. And in 1997, Tom decided to sell the station. I stayed on with Tony Hirsch,
Right.
who bought the station, was a local broadcaster. He still lives here and has business ties to the area. He kept the station to 2000. Next Media is a group in Colorado. They have ties in New York City. They came in, they bought the Pinnacle Group, which was Wave 104. Now, Wave 104 and KZQ were big enemies. I mean, we basically did not like each other. The fact I'm on Wave now, if you'd ask me if I'd ever worked there, I'd say no. But there was a guy in town, his name was Howard Stern. And I was the big punching bag when Howard came into town. But the Howard Stern situation always worked for me because I was always, quote, the bad boy. And, growing up in central North Carolina on a farm and, raised as a Baptist, I mean, how bad can I get?
Right, yeah.
You're taught never to say anything you wouldn't say in front of your mother. Well, I said a lot in front of my mom, and I was punished for it. But I had an opportunity. I'd always said if there's an opportunity that presents itself that I knew Stern with his wanting more money for the contract and it's all about money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, advertisers were slow to come on board for that show. He had a very controversial show. Now some people would say I still do that on the radio side, but I got to replace Howard Stern. It was too juicy, and KZQ was leaning. They were always the rock edge, the alternative sound, and when I got married, I wasn't in a position, nor did I want to go out 3 nights a week and host these wonderful wet T-shirt contests that this area is so famous for. I actually got paid from 1989 to 2000. I got paid to go to these things.
To those wet T-shirt contests?
Oh, yeah. I was paid to go to
Instead
that.
of paying them?
They paid me.
That's insane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I told you, Greg.
Yeah.
The money's in radio.
Yeah.
Chicks dig.
Chicks dig it. I love it. Well, we need to have a talk.
But you brought up my wife's name.
I love Barb Crum. I mean, I don't love her like you. I mean, she's a very special woman. You've been
Natural spring water.
Thank you. There we go. You've got a great wife.
Yeah, I met her on my radio show, and I've made it a point not to interview women in the studio. I'll do phone interviews,
Right.
but not at this point. You know, it's funny that we have stereotypes, and we'll get into some of that a little later on. You know, I'm sure you grew up the same way. You're taught not to judge a book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
But if, you know, if you saw me on the street and you asked me what I did, I says, well, I'm a rock and roll disc jockey.
Mm-hmm.
Do I look like a guy who would be working 21 years in rock radio? For the most part. I mean,
yeah,
you would
I guess not.
you'd think a
Right.
little wilder time. I've had my wilder days.
Howard Stern.
Yeah, you would think some of that. And I've done things that would put Howard to shame in my past. We had a guy, Morgan Patrick, who was the coach here for the longest time. He was about the closest to a co-host that I had at KZQ. We were good friends. We were roommates at a time. And that's a good story I have to tell you off the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was saying something to a friend of his, and the girl he was talking about was there. It was funny. Natural spring water.
Yeah, here we are. Yes.
Hot in here.
No, I'm sorry, Jack. I'm trying to help that. That's
But
right.
Patrick booked Barb. She was working at the Arts Council.
Right.
He's like, yeah, I've got the Arts Council, and they want to know what time they're coming in tomorrow. I said, I don't want the Arts Council. I said, a bunch of bleeding heart liberals come over here begging people for money. It doesn't fit on my show.
No, sure.
So there's the stereotype, which was obviously wrong.
Right.
Knowing my wife,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
definitely not a bleeding heart. And my wife, obviously, who was, you know, a little hesitant because she'd heard stories about me and the stereotypes. We met and were married probably a year later. She was a guest on my show. That's how I met her. I hadn't planned on it.
And at that time, she was with the Ori Cultural Arts Council.
Right, yep.
She is now at Ocean Lakes.
She came in to promote. It's funny because there's this thing that they call folk music. It's bluegrass for us North Carolina boys. She was there to promote a folk arts festival. And the T-shirt that she had designed for the event, she did the artwork herself. And I was like, oh, wow, this is pretty good here.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, the more time I got to spend with her, I thought, this is really talented
to
woman
get her
here.
back more often.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is a meal ticket right here.
Oh, my God. I'd like to think you outmarried yourself, but not for...
Well, that's...
you were looking for the meal ticket
No, I
aspect,
didn't.
right?
But
Yeah.
it just... We had so much in common. It was because my father... I was 31, I guess, when I met her. I didn't get married till I was 32.
Which is
And
a
turned
great
33.
age.
Yeah, it's a very good age. You ought to try it sometime.
I know that age well, yes.
You do not... Do you? How old are you now?
I'm 32, Jack.
Oh, well, then you know it well.
Yeah, I do.
Well, I waited, and my father, you know, where we come from, you know, we had our 10-year high school reunion, and everybody was married at 10 years with kids, and here I am, you know, getting paid to go to wet T-shirt contests, playing golf 3 days a week, and living the so-called good life.
There is a lot more to Banana Jack than the wet T-shirt contest or the competition or the potential punching bag aspect, the Howard Stern push, or even more than what we would imagine an amazing marriage with Barb.
Yeah, a great woman. Got to be to put up with me.
You absolutely outmarried yourself, that's for sure.
Some people still don't know it because Murphy is not my legal last name. I adapted that to come here because my real name has 92 syllables in it. And banana, you know, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
doesn't work. So I had to come up with something that is pretty generic.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows a Jack for the most part.
Sure.
And Murphy's a pretty common name. So that's how I chose that. Right out of the blue, I used initials for my real name, which is not important.
Is that pretty common with radio or even TV?
Yeah, a lot
folks?
of mostly radio, especially with I think John Wayne's real name was Marion.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Marion instead of John?
Yeah, something wacky
Marion
like that. His
Wayne.
name was Marion. A
I
lot of
didn't
guys.
know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You know, Steve Porter kicked off this week, who's also...
His real name is Chuck.
Oh, no.
By the way.
Oh, my God.
No, it's not.
He was on air a lot, both on TV and radio. It's fascinating. It's been an exciting week of learning. Of course,
I see him every morning.
I was about to say, you all both are in the Next Media family now, which must be exciting.
It is fun.
And he and Debbie Harwell, of course, who is a consultant here to the Herald, the founder of the Herald, the Myrtle Beach Herald, both have that morning show on WRNN, which is a superstar.
Sure.
Yeah. Really does well for the Next Media family. And obviously, Wave 104 is Howard Stern still in radio?
Oh, he is, but not down here.
Right. No one's, yeah.
No, it's really weird. John Boy and Billy are really the only syndicated show that has had any staying power here. I think unless you live here, and you know, for my benefit, these they really don't give a product long enough. These morning shows time enough to last. You know, I've been here just by the process of being able to stay on the air that long that I have like enormous name recognition.
Yeah, you do.
You know, and so after
That's
a
why
while,
it's so big that I've got you on the show this morning. It's huge. Right after River Talk as well.
well, you know, before I leave, I'll autograph one of these Better Blue natural spring waters for you. Put that up on the mountain, right there.
Well, here we go, pal.
I can do it.
No, we'll wait. What about, golly, Jack, there's so much more I want to focus on, but I was really thinking about it. Our director had said a really good point was, who has been one of your most interesting guests on your 6+ years now on River Talk?
Wow. Most interesting guest. Wow. For that show, it's, you know, you look back and how time changes, especially the faces. I don't know if we ever had Ashby Ward on that show or not. But you look, Bob Grissom was a regular on the show in the early years, and he's no longer with us. Mark Sanford was always was a great guest to have on.
You've had Mark Sanford on the show?
Yeah.
Have you ever had the governor of North Carolina on?
Easily? No, he didn't.
Jim Hunt, formerly. I mean, you've been doing River Talk for 6+ years.
Now, for that show, I've interviewed a lot of folks, but not necessarily because of the nature of River Talk. It's a local based, and when we shoot everything, I mean, it's luck of the draw because we shoot a whole week in that one day.
Right.
We had Nancy Thurman on. We covered that Strom Thurmond thing. We had, Andre Bauer on, who's the lieutenant governor.
Yeah, you've had some superstar guests.
We had Meadowlark Lemon on.
Is that right?
And Curly. Yeah, now that would probably be it for me. As far as I've interviewed some heavy duty guys.
Meadowlark Lemon would be the most interesting. Yeah, Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, for River Talk.
That's huge. How about on KZQ? Did you? I
interviewed Bob Bessler twice, and that's always fun.
That would be big
because I'm a little punching bag for him. He calls me, one of these.
He loves you. That's crazy.
Well, hey, as long as you spell my assumed name correctly, I don't care. I love publicity.
That's a very good point. What about another B or another Bob Bessler? Let's see. What about Bethany Christian Services? That's a fun
now
segue.
see, I've already talked about, and I've probably freaked a lot of people out because I have come. I've always had that centered of trying to do the right thing, treating people, and I think that's been a big part of my success. Is that I'm always nice to people. You never know who you're going to bump into on the street.
You're right.
You don't even know the situation, and I do have this sense that there might be a divine power somewhere that might be guiding people as a test for you. The Bethany Christian thing's evolved. A friend of mine, how many rock and roll guys would actually say that they're pro-life? Now, when I go out and I try to tell people about what the Bethany movement is about, I don't necessarily say it's pro-life. It's pro-adoption. It's a sensitive issue when you get in there, and it's a political thing that's been over-publicized, and it's a personal matter for folks. And I think the pro-adoption way is a softer sell. Of course, I'm still pro-life. I make no bones about that. But it's a situation where I was really wondering why I got called to do it, why I would be involved in that. I got a call one Sunday afternoon from the director, who's Ginger Bartos, and she wanted me to go down to one of these lesser-known hotels in town, one of the smaller ones where you pay by the week. It's not a very nice place. And I went there because there were some questions arising. The baby was staying. There's some situations where guys need to go into these situations. We provide, there have been a lot of changes in the South with their attitudes and stuff. But one of those, I'm sure that you could probably relate to, growing up in North Carolina, not too far from those tobacco farms. You never cropped tobacco, did you?
I can't say I did. We grew up, my parents
for you.
still live in an apartment, the same apartment I grew up in.
Because we didn't have Better Blue natural spring water.
Oh,
we
my
drank
God,
it out of
yeah,
one of
you
those little
better, yeah.
igloo coolers in the back of
That's
the...
nice of you to really build up our show sponsor here. Thank you very much.
Oh,
It is
you're
a
welcome.
non-commercial show, you know.
Oh.
We appreciate
Well,
the
I've parked
publicity.
it. Oh, really?
It's much like HTC, of course, which is the sponsor
Sure.
of River Talk. I mean,
Yeah.
they're an amazing sponsor. Ori
Great
Telephone
sponsor,
Cooperative.
yeah.
They've been so great for River Talk.
They step up to the plate, yeah.
They do.
And doing this show has opened the River Talk show had opened up a lot of doors, and it was good because it opened the doors that there's more to a guy who just plays Pink Floyd or Smashing Pumpkins CDs on a radio station. The Bethany movement was really, really good for me. We got to take a breather or something?
No, we absolutely not. We got 6 minutes.
6 minutes? I've rambled on.
No, you've only rambled
the Bethany
20.
Movement, I only rambled 20.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to have a tough time talking about myself. Yeah. Does this just right here complete the whole Napoleonic complex for you?
Oh
right
my
there?
God, that you can barely get that. Can you get that?
Oh, I just slide right there.
There we are.
Slide
That's
it
right. You
in,
can
yeah.
barely get it. Yeah.
But the Bethany thing was quite interesting,
Yeah.
that I would get there. I actually have been director on the advisory board for the last 2 years, and I serve on the state board.
Yeah.
And how that happened, because I think people in the Christian army we get shot by a lot of friendly fire. A lot of times we don't practice what we preach, and the fact that a rock and roll disc jockey has been there says a lot for the organization.
Well, are you able to maintain that, the devotion to Christ as your number one,
Sure.
and still be on the radio and potentially
and do all of that.
cutting edge, pushing the envelope?
Yeah, sure you can.
Really?
I'm getting away with it. Yeah.
Oh my! God hasn't struck you down yet.
No.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Maybe having right now, pal.
Oh,
Yeah, you're on air live.
Well, if it happens, it happens. Bring it on. I say, I'm pretty content that there's a better place.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
That's great.
But it is interesting, the whole relationship, and
With Christ.
yeah,
Or with Bethany.
I don't make a big deal about it. I just go where there's a need and get the work done, and I don't hark about it. But
Jack's been known, or Banana Jack's been known. There was, I think, 94, 95, where you did a Myrtle Beach Days. Was that real quick? We've got about 4 minutes, Jack.
I couldn't have served on Bethany and doing that show. That was a
Okay.
weird show. It was an interesting time. Now that was a show where we would talk to we would interview starlets from the adult entertainment industry.
Oh my God!
And on that same show, we had Phil Graham on one of the shows. Beasley was always in Sanford when he was congressman. I guess he was on that show every 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
No way.
Yeah.
Y'all taped here in Myrtle. It was broadcast, I think I saw in Chicago, New York as
Yeah, we
well.
bought time on Time Warner Cable. It's not like
Right.
anyone said, yeah, we have got to have that in New York. Of course, compared to what you see on television, even on local access in New York, it pales in comparison. But it was interesting.
That must have been. And what was Myrtle Beach Days about? I mean,
It was a comedy show.
right.
There's these vacation channels that have their veiled attempts at humor, and they do a great job because everybody watches them. With Beach TV, and then what Bill Dixon's done at 33, and even with the beach scene, people watch these shows. I mean,
Right.
the advertisers wouldn't spend money year after year if they weren't effective. But we did a little different show. When we went in, Ralph McLeod and I, we did what so many people do on the front end. This is a little business tip for you. Borrow more than you need on the front end because it's still not going to be enough. And we didn't do that because just watching Jesse Helms on the evening news every night with Charlie Gaddy, I got that. It was weird. Couldn't watch the Flintstones because Wilma's skirt was too short growing up. It was terrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Both your parents felt that way, Jack.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. My brother turned out to be the rebel without a clue, though.
Is that right? How many? You had brothers and
I
sisters?
have a brother and a sister.
Okay, great. Who's the middle?
I'm the oldest. My brother would be the middle, and the baby is my sister.
Are any of them still in Benson?
My brother is. My sister lives just outside of Raleigh.
Okay, so both in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
Are your parents still living, Jay?
Yeah, they still are. My dad had a rough bout with some heart attacks 2 years ago, this past October.
Well, we need to get you involved with the American Heart Association. I know you're slammed with
I'm
Bethany
slammed now and some other things.
And so many other things. What about the Praise Network? I believe I saw that you founded. We've got 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yeah, can you talk for a minute about the Praise Network and maybe a little bit about eMyrtle?
That's one of the websites. The eMyrtle is a local community base.
Right.
And I've taken pretty much a hiatus from that the last 6 months because I'm concentrating on the old Tiger Radio, which was the first radio station in this area, WTGR. It's loosely based on that. It's all independent, unsigned artists. We have old radio on there. I don't want to get into that conflict where I'm serving two masters. So,
Sure.
Wave radio is where I put all my energy and any extra time. But I go back to those early days, and that was what inspired me. Why I got into this business. My dad had a grocery store in a little town called Four Oaks, 1969, maybe 1970. A little hazy on the year. It was an Easter remote. He'd bought some time on a radio station. They came out, and they had this big Easter egg hunt out in the parking lot. One of the guys, I remember, was dressed up like a rabbit. I didn't want to be the guy in the rabbit. I wanted to be the disc jockey who had on like this terrible plaid blazer. I learned at an early age that chicks dig radio guys. He was looking good. He was smelling even better with little high karate.
Yeah.
He was killing it, man.
Yeah.
And this was when there was nothing on. There weren't 100 radio stations. And so I said, I want a radio.
Right.
So my dad got me one of these little AM radios. It was King. All the money that I made as an allowance, picking up pop bottles and everything, went for 9-volt batteries so I could listen to these far-off radio stations at night. And when my little sister came along, I got into TV because she had all the baby dolls and the mirrors. I would put a mirror in this corner of the room and a mirror in front of me and a mirror on the other side of the room. And I would work the mirrors like I was on TV with my little hairbrush.
Wow.
Sick. If you catch your kid doing that, sit them down and talk to them.
Right.
Or they'll be, sitting on a set like this, harking water.
I love it.
Yeah.
Natural spring water. If you weren't currently on the radio, Jack, what do you think you'd be
Be
doing?
selling used cars, Greg.
Yeah.
Because would Banana Jack really sell you a lemon? Think about it.
I love it. I love it. We're visiting an amazing man.
Spider-Man.
You haven't checked out his
What a
Spider-Man.
web I
That's
weave.
right. Bethany Christian Services, the Praise Network. So many years on the radio, KZQ, and now Wave 104. He has replaced Howard Stern in the market. Jack, thanks so much for
Good
being with us
seeing
this
you.
morning.
All right.
Absolutely. Very
I'll
exciting.
Get that money I owe you later.
Catch Wave 104.1 or River Talk on HTC4, and stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. We want to thank Banana Jack Murphy, his amazing wife Barb Crum, all the different owners of radio stations he's worked for, and all of his loyal listeners and viewers for making today's Carolina People so special.